Right, class, Riley, there you go. Okay, question 1 of your EST revision is about a trailer. So a trailer made by the men's shed. Okay, there's 2 trailer designs, okay? One, they're both the same width. Obviously the trailer goes on the end there. But they're just talking about the drawbars, okay? Which one they should have. Now, yeah, it's okay. Obviously this is a top view of the trailer. Okay, so the wheels would be, yeah. Anyway, there's 2 designs, okay? And the question asks, length of steel required. So the length of steel, that's talking about the perimeter. Okay, so that's each one. Okay, now 1,000, yeah, thank you, millimeters.
It's the other one as well.
It's all millimeters, yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So that's only like 10 centimeters.
Cool. Now, no, that's a meter. 1,000 millimeters is a meter.
Oh, shut up, I don't even care.
Okay. But anyway, I've reduced it. The numbers in here are a bit bigger, but obviously, to make it fair, I can't actually write the answers on the board. So here you go. This is about as good as you can get without cheating. So, we need to work out the perimeter of that and the perimeter of this. Now this one, fairly easy, isn't it? There's 3 sides to a triangle. We've got all 3 sides here. 1,000, 14, 40, 14, 40. So you could just add them together. Not a big deal. 14, 40, 14, 40, and 1,000. Add that together. And you get 3,880 millimeters. That one is easy. Zoom in that. Okay, so that's the first. Now the second one, bit tricky. This dotted line, that's not actually a bar. That's the length of the height of that triangle. It is symmetrical, but we don't actually know the length of this, but we can find it out with our good mate Pythagoras. So if we chop it into 2 identical triangles and then just concentrate on that, I'll draw it there, not to scale, but this one will still be 1,600. And this one is now half. So what's half of 1,000? Yeah, thank you. 500. Yeah, 500. All right. So that's fairly easy. Now, it is a right angle triangle, which means Pythagoras can be done on it. So, this is the one we want to find out. Now that in Pythagoras is the long side, or the hypotenuse as it's correctly called. So when you do Pythagoras for the long side, you get the 2 short sides, square them, each, add them together, and then square root it. So, square root, press that on your calculator, press the open brackets, press 500 squared, must be squared, plus 1,600 squared, close brackets. Now, if you wanted to find a shorter side, in Pythagoras you always need to know 2 of them. 1, 2, and it gives you the 3rd one. So if you had the long one, and you're looking for the short one, you go long one squared, take the shorter one, would give you the other shorter one. But here, we have the 2 short ones. So we square them, add them together, then we square root the whole thing. Now, so on the calculator, it would look like this. You'd touch the square root button there, open brackets, oops, some calculators already give you one. Then we type in 500 x squared, which is the squared button, plus 1600 x squared, close brackets, and that's all going to be square rooted. So that's all in one answer. You could get the answer for that and then square root it, but this does it all at once. Just give you a good... There you go, see it? And now I press equals. And there's my answer. 1676.3. Now that's a millimeter, so it's pretty accurate. So I'm just going to round it to the nearest whole millimeter. 1676. So 1676. So that's what that is. 1676. And now we have that.
1676 plus 1676 plus 1000.
Yes, thank you, Riley.
You're welcome. Thanks.
So yeah, Riley's correct. Now you just, that's that and that we already know, so you just add them together. So 1676, 1676, 1000. Add them together.
4000 and... Wait, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4... 2, 4, 2... 3.
So 4,352 millimeters. Now, so which one's the greater one? Obviously the longer one. That's the perimeter of this triangle. There, that's that one. Now, the second part of this question is... They need to know the angle of this. They said, what's the angle? Okay. Now that's not a Pythagoras question. What do you use to work out the angle of a triangle? Yeah, Sohcahtoa, which comes under the form of trigonometry. Yep. The inverse trigonometry too. So, I'm just going to wipe this off to give us some room. No, got that, don't need anything else. Cool. Alright, so with trigonometry as well, once again, it works best with a right angle triangle. It doesn't have to be for trig, but it's heaps easier at our level. So I'm going to draw that just a half again. Put in what I know. Let's put in this one, 500. We'll put in what they gave us to start with.
I'm going to be writing like 181,000.
Now, there's our little theta. So that means that's the angle we want to know, but we don't know already. And they've given us two sides. Now, before you start any trigonometry question, I would always recommend you do the old Sohcahtoa like this. Nearly finished. Hold on. Yeah. So Sohcahtoa, written like this: sine opposite over hypotenuse, cosine adjacent over hypotenuse, toa or tan opposite over adjacent. That's where Sohcahtoa comes from. So here's the angle we have here. Obviously, in relation to that angle, what's the 500? Think about it. It's on the opposite. So we've got an opposite. This is the opposite. And this one, 1600, is touching the angle, but it's not the hypotenuse.
Adjacent.
So that means it must be the adjacent. Alright, so which one of Sohcahtoa is opposite and adjacent? Anyone?
Huh?
We go opposite and adjacent. That's opposite hypotenuse, not that one. Adjacent and hypotenuse, not that one. Opposite, adjacent. Perfect. So it's this one. It's tan. So we can say tan of the theta equals. Now the reason I write it out like this, you can see it, is because it tells us the order it has to go in. So you can see O's at the top, So that's opposite at the top, 500. And then adjacent's at the bottom, 1600. Now, this is inverse trigonometry. So, here I'll just hand out a calculator to a guest. Bradley? Perfect. Now, Bradley, let's type in 500 divided by 1600.
Wait, what? What? 500.
Yep. So I'll do it on the calculator in front of us. So we go, just go 500. In fact, we have the option. Check this out. There we go. Whoops. 500 divided by 1600 equals.
Sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to let you know that Riley's just helping out with something, so he might be a little bit late.
Okay.
Yeah, he's all good.
We're live streaming here.
Oh, okay, sorry. Bye.
All right. 500 divided by 1600 equals 0.3125. Now that's not the answer. This is where it comes. We decided we're using tan. We're using tan, so, but not when you've got the two sides and you want the angle, we actually use inverse tan. So we can see on, you see the tan button there, then there's that little yellow tan -1. That's inverse tan, so that's the one we're going for. So to use that, we just press Shift tan, I believe, and then equals. And there's our 17.35. Okay, so that is the answer to the question. I'll just go back to it. 17.35. Now, remember that we actually chopped this in half here, didn't we? So that's half of it. So we actually need to double it to find that angle. So we got 17.35 times 2, and that'll equal 34.7. And then remember, we're doing in degrees. With degrees, in most cases, we just go to the nearest whole degree. So I'm going to round that to 35 degrees. Okay, so that's the angle of the triangle. So that's a lot of. This is just question 1, and this is just 2 parts of it. Okay, so you really want to be efficient with this question when you get to the EST Year 12s. Pythag, smash that one out, and then the inverse trigonometry, you got to be capable of doing that. So don't waste time with question 1 because there's a lot of other work to do. You only give them 50 minutes. So any other questions, hit me up in the comments below.